What if you had enough money in here to where all you did when your kid went to college was pause the dividend reinvestment and use all your active dividends to pay for their college. And then once they're done with school, then you just turn it back onto reinvestment and then let them build up again. All right, so welcome back. We got a fun one today, I feel like. It's a little different, but it has definitely become I feel like in the last year or two, it's become a really big conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it's just because I have kids now and I'm starting to actually pay attention to it. But we get a lot of questions around specifically 529 accounts. And because everyone knows what we do with dividend portfolios and things like that. They're like, where should I put this money? You know, like, hey, I got X number of dollars from my parents, or my kid got this at their birthday. Should we put it in a 529? Should we put it in a brokerage account and, you know, start doing the dividend investing? Or, you know, what should we do? So today we're going to kind of unpack that. I don't think there's a right answer to either one of these, but we're going to kind of play both sides of the coin. Hopefully you learn something.
Well, and right after you subscribe, maybe make a comment, because we're constantly learning on this one. And this is a good one to generate some conversation.
And I would say even in the past year, because of some of the legislative changes that have been uncovered and that I've just read more about, I'd say even my own opinion has shifted a little bit from what it was maybe 3 years ago. So that's happened just here recently. So, all right. Kick us off. What is a 529 for people who maybe don't have kids and don't even know what we're talking about?
Yeah. So a 529 plan is an account designed to set up for really structured for education costs, right? And there's some specific guidelines on what that really includes, but basically for tuition, things of that nature, books, fees associated directly with. Often it's colleges, but I think a lot of people don't realize they've really expanded where you can use that money for.
And that was really like a post-COVID thing, right? Right. In the past couple of years that they expanded it to where like you can basically use it for any schooling.
Right. If you're learning.
Yeah, I don't.
And whenever I say any, it's like grade school.
Right.
Right. Like
correct. No, it's K through 12 and beyond. And I want to say it's the Tax Cut and Jobs Act that did it.
Okay.
And then I think the latest one kind of insured some of that stuff, but we can. Yeah, we can get specific with you.
Us on that if you want.
But it really is. I do say that if you are learning and growing in some side of an organized program, I mean, of course, mom and dad maybe doesn't count. But if you're
certain homeschools
and certain homeschools, as soon as I say that, if you are learning and growing, this may be applicable to you.
Yeah.
Right. So,
and what's the big advantage around it? Like, why would I want to put money into that 529? Outside of that money can be used for education, but what about that?
It's the tax exempt status. It's the tax benefit. There's no tax liability on it or the growth. Yeah. So that's probably the biggest thing.
But it is after tax dollars that go into that account, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. So there's not really a tax benefit on the front end. It's more on what that money actually grows to.
Growth and distribution.
Yep.
Exactly right.
Yep. So which especially in the early, whenever these plans first came out, that like, shoot, I can put money in it when my kids are young.
Correct.
This can grow, and then whenever they get to college, now we've got some, additional money.
There's some positive. I'm passionate about this one. Just serving a lot of young people. It really is cool if you're going to go use it for education.
Yes.
And you know what education is going to look like. We're an athletic family, right? So, for example, you could get a sports scholarship, right? And people in your life have a sports scholarship, or you go to an in-state school and you're really stinking smart. You could get a scholarship. Like, you could spend less than you thought. Now, you could spend a whole lot more, but if you start early and it's traditional and what you think your kids are going to do, or even your grandkids are going to do, because you can change the name, and you're going to use that for education, and you do, it's pretty great. But the one thing that I've had a few people, and I just want to say this before I forget, your 529, you cannot necessarily go and invest in anything. The ones that we've experienced, and I'm pretty sure I'm accurate on this, is you're pretty restricted on the funds that you can invest in inside that. And I've had a few people not get mad at me, but say, hey, wait a minute, because we'll do a share screen and I'll help them pick. And they're like, yeah, but
it's a really easy pick.
Like,
there's only like 4.
There's like not many. And then and people sometimes get disappointed with that.
Yeah.
Just know that ahead of putting the money in.
And they're run state by state.
Correct.
It is so state
Which
by
is
state
totally another thing, because there are some states, and I'm not familiar with them at all, but I do know that there are certain states that even have extra tax incentives based on these plans as well.
Correct.
But
Federal and state.
by and large, like you kind of have to have the account set up in the state where your kid is going to, or your grandkid is going to use those funds.
To get
So,
the truest,
yeah.
truest
Y-
perk from it.
Yes and no.
I mean, I'm
so
sure
there-
there's some reciprocity and things
Right.
that you
I
can
think
do
you
I-
can,
around that.
yeah.
I believe there are 34 states that do some sort of tax deduction on a state
Okay,
level.
Cal,
And
Yeah,
then
look at Cal.
529
Excuse
specialist.
us.
Need to know about
Goodness.
529.
Yeah.
Call Cal.
Yeah.
it's 34 in DC. So
Okay.
if you want to
Yeah.
count that. And I know that there's certain states that have a better setup. Like, for example, us in North Carolina, we do not get a tax benefit for it.
Okay.
But Utah's plan is supposedly better options to choose
So everybody
from.
gets the federal exemption, but
That's
you would
right.
still pay tax on the state
on
level.
the state that you're in. That's correct.
Yeah.
But you might,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is a
So it
thing,
can
and
be
it matters. It is
It does
actually a big
matter.
number because I was just working through it with somebody. If you know who you are, I'm not saying your name. There is a huge difference because one of them, to your point, must have not been one of the 34,
right.
and one of them was, and it was the opposite, unfortunately, direction. So we kind of hit a little bit of a roadblock on that. So
Yeah.
that makes sense.
So you have the 529s to pay for college, which are usually a really good thing, right? Or that can be. But then there's also this other option that we particularly like, and it's the brokerage account, which you can go ahead and start investing in dividends, in our case, with our clients. And so why, and I'll kind of start this one off a little bit just because this is where I get super passionate about it and try, especially if you're starting early. Like if your kids are really young and you're like, hey, I want to start saving for my kids. I'm starting to get, my parents are, kind of gifting money at birthdays. Like I've got, several clients who like, my parents are wanting to give to the grandkids.
Right.
And every birthday they're putting in $500, $1,000.
Mm.
So, over the next 18 years, there could be some significant money in here. Where should we put it? And kind of, we've gone the dividend brokerage account for them. And I'm like, man, what if, and I try to get them excited about, what if you had enough money in here to where all you did when your kid went to college was pause the dividend reinvestment
Right.
Mm.
and use all your active dividends to pay for their college. And then once they're done with school, then you just turn it back onto reinvestment and then let them build up again. And then whenever it's time for the wedding, take a little bit out for the wedding. And then whenever it's time for the first, or whatever you want to do, or now it can just be
through
yours.
multiple life events as opposed to just
Yeah, the
college.
unlimited kind
Right.
of flexibility of that account, I think, is just beautiful.
right.
And how you can pool the money, and then sometimes it gets in to, well, but this is specific to this kid and things like that. So,
Right.
you get into just,
It does bring in the behavior thing a little bit.
It does.
Sometimes
Absolutely.
because there's more options and
Yep.
it's hard to stay disciplined. Go ahead. You're chopping at the bits.
No,
Go
you're
ahead.
good. No, I was just, all I was going to say was like flexibility is great, but it also can be challenging,
Yeah.
to your point. Like, and sometimes I do worry with certain
too
clients.
flexible, right?
It's too
Right.
flexible, right? Or it's like,
I might use this for some other stuff.
that's right. They have it earmarked for 5 different things.
Yes.
And that doesn't work for certain folks, right? And
Yep.
that has to be specific and individualized. But
Yep.
so the great thing about the 529 is it's like the 401k. It's a force structured, investment strategy.
Yeah,
It's
it is your
earmarked for,
accountability,
right.
right?
and if you have 10 kids and they're all going to college, then you probably are going to use that money, right?
Yeah.
But if you got 2 and you're homeschooling and then that's it, that might be a challenge. There are ways to get out of it, and we can talk about that a little bit later. But
Yep.
so I love the flexibility and I like that. But I do get nervous when people are like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to use that for college and long-term care and for estate planning."
First
like,
house.
okay, wait a minute.
Yeah, it's my catch-all account.
Well, and I have fun, guys. I guess I do have some isms. Maybe Paul, you're not sitting over there, but I am guilty of some isms. But one thing that
the Nikki budgets is blinking underneath you right now.
yeah, Nikki budgets. But here's another, shout out to dad, mom too, but my dad was the heavy. But you're on the hook for 50% of your college tuition. Well, if you want to go and earn a scholarship,
Mhm.
you don't have to 50, you're off the hook. Well, if you can encourage your kids to also save, sometimes them going to get a scholarship, now that money that you earmarked for college, or they were frankly saving for because they got to pay their 50, you can get them excited about that. And then they go and get a scholarship, academic, athletic, they decide to take a trade school, whatever it is, and they don't need all that. Now they're like going to buy their first house, which is stinking hard to do now, or they're going to put money down on a car. You're right. Those options and the way to incentive, that whole accountability thing.
Mhm.
It's not just the parents and the grandparents. You can get the family involved and there's more options. And frankly, I've had fun doing that with some of the kids because
Sure.
don't lose your thought. But
No,
you
you're
referenced how we do have some young clients. And I find so much joy in serving my clients' parents and their kids and even their kids' kids, which is kind of stinking cool. But getting everybody engaged in that process and then having that pool of money that, yes, it needs to be prioritized for education. Don't skip that. But then, hey, like you can leverage that for other things.
That's
And
right.
talk about behavior driving. Like it's kind of motivating, right? And it helps you continue to execute it.
Yeah.
But you have to have the pack that you're going to use it for the right things.
That's right.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
we're good.
And then the other piece, like, I mean, obviously we're making it sound like the brokerage account is, the perfect one, but it does have some limitations or just things around it because every year you're paying taxes on it.
That's
So
right.
you miss out on that non-tax growth that you can pull out, the gains and things like that. And then obviously the biggest one is like those dividends aren't guaranteed,
Not
but then
guaranteed.
neither is the growth on the other account. So, I don't think it's a one size fits all. If you got parents or even yourself that's putting in money, it can be a both and. It doesn't actually have to.
One more pro and one more con. Again, real life example. You guys will know who you are as both probably in the last 2-3 months. It's been wind at the back for some of our clients, like some of the clients who are really hitting tough cash flow. Because I always tell these youngins, your cash flow will never be higher than it is right now. You got to stash it away. You got to prepare for the future. But when you're in the thick of it, and maybe you just lost a job during a challenging time. Oh, my kid needs something to get around. Oh, college. Oh, marriage, like wedding. Wait a minute, all those things.
Yeah.
And then to have this money that you've been saving forever that's tax-free while they're at school. So not only are you not paying some of the things when they were at home, but now most everything is being taken care of by this 529. So at a time when your cash flow ain't flowing quite the way it was when you were 20, it's really stinking cool to have that 529 wind at your back if it fits your plan and you execute it the way you're supposed to. And the one thing, not to be on the negative, but I've seen it be good for people. I've got 2 people right now that are trying to get out of theirs because for various reasons, not all sad, but some happy, they don't need the money, right?
Mhm.
They don't need that money.
Right.
Or they don't need it
and-
earmarked that way.
They don't need it earmarked that way. Fair, good
Right.
clarification. Yes. And then they're not having a grandkid. Again, not all happy stuff. I've had a couple people with some heavy stuff. Well, that's
What do they
limiting
do now?
because yes, you can roll some into the Roth, but there's a limited amount. I think it's 35,000 if I'm remembering it right. I know that-
35,000.
But even that's
I don't
new,
want to timestamp this,
That's
but
new. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's
the
new.
account needs to be open for 15 years.
which is
and the account, thank you for
crazy.
reminding. It is,
Yeah.
but in a lot
So-
of cases, it has been.
Yeah.
For people who have that much, but I've seen it be. I don't want to say that I'm all down on 529s.
Right.
I just want people to know what they're getting into before they
Right.
do it.
Well, and I
you
think
know,
a
you know.
blended strategy is probably the most
Good
likely,
segue.
especially now.
Good segue.
You
You can steal that. Go ahead.
But I really do. I've come around to it mainly because one, they expanded what you could actually. It's not so tight and specific as
Right.
to what you can use the money for.
Yep.
Even if you get one of those college scholarships or an academic scholarship, you can dollar for dollar exchange that back out now. If your account has been open long enough, you can
Right.
move some money into a Roth, which I'm like, sweet, that's awesome.
Yep.
But I wouldn't suggest going and putting hundreds of thousands into one of these accounts. If you're
Right.
like, I think my kid might actually want to be a business owner and
Right.
start his own business. Well, now you're kind of caught. So let's have a little fun here.
Diversifying your assets is kind of another way to spin that.
Or the
It's nice to have
account
some money in
types.
different.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Not
one, before you get to the questions, I
Yeah.
would say, I think, and it's a little bit too deep for this, more for an individual conversation, but if you have family members, grandparents, and things like that can invest in this, there are some tremendous tax benefits with it. And whether it's a 529 or education funding directly to the institution, whatever it may be, there's a lot of ways for strategizing for tax avoidance,
I mean,
and so
our
there's a
resident
big part there, so-
education,
Yeah, you definitely
savings,
chat who? We got
Cal.
Cal.
That's it.
Cal GPT. Cal GPT. Yes, it's
All
got
right.
its place, but you got to have a plan. It's probably how I would.
Yes.
Exactly right.
Both have a plan.
Yes.
Whether it be your
Figure out what you're
custodial-
trying to accomplish.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right?
And the only other thing, and this is not appropriate, but I'm just going to throw it out there as some random.
Uh-oh.
Whoop, whoop. No. Yes, go and put into a 529. But if guys, you're going to go into credit card debt in order to go and do any of these plans, they say put the mask on yourself before
First,
you put it
yes.
on your. And I don't say that, but some people love these people, grateful, giving heart, and that's awesome. But if you're can't afford to feed them, let's just make
Yeah.
sure we get the plans in order. And it just hit my heart, so I thought I'd say it. But
Awesome.
that's also something to consider, is make sure you're not putting too much into that.
Yeah. Well, and make sure that you're taking care of yourself and
Now and in the
operating
future.
and blessing people from a point of strength, not out of
Right.
scarcity.
Mm.
So, all right, quickly, let's do a
Good
couple of
stuff.
these little, which one should I do? So we're going to take a couple different scenarios. A family receives $500 to invest when their child is 5 years old. What should they do? Should they put money into the traditional 529, open up a brokerage account, or I like the wait until they have more money to invest?
Well, I mean, I think it's process elimination, right? So it's like,
Well,
I think
from these,
waiting, just hoping, let's, buy and hope kind of strategy, or just don't do anything
don't
and
do
hope
anything.
strategy.
Put it in a savings account.
Yeah. Or put it in a savings account, getting 2% or whatever. That sounds challenging. So I would default to, investing, and reinvesting the dividends, or just investing in a program.
When it's not like specific, I think
if it's not
probably
pigeonholed for
good. See,
education.
which is kind of like the next, or one of the other ones. It's we get a little more specific. All right, a family is confident that the money will be used for qualified education expenses and wants the strongest potential tax advantages. Which one might be appropriate for that?
Since you use the buzzword tax,
That's right.
and you truly are going to use it for education, and that plan sticks for the 15 years that you referenced, Mr. Smarty Pants over there, I do think the 529 is the right way to go on that.
Yeah,
on that
Absolutely.
front.
Absolutely.
Especially whenever you're getting, just kind of getting started. Like we know,
Right.
with the way education has exploded in cost, there's probably, I don't know too many people that what our conversations about what they're wanting to just start to save for their kids is even getting to a level to where they would be like, oh man, I've overfunded this thing.
Right.
Like they're just like, kind of just want to know that I've got a little bit over here to buffer for a couple of years, just in case some things are happening.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to jump to this last one. A family wants education tax advantages, but also wants some long-term flexibility. What do you think would be the best there?
I think it's a combo
I think
platter.
it's a combo. Yeah, I think it's a combo.
Yeah.
Gives you a lot of choices, but it gives you the flexibility.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I land. And ultimately, like, sit down with someone, figure it out.
That's
even if it's just your spouse, but your advisor, we're happy to have the conversation with you. Really, just figure out, identify. Hey, and it'll change as your kids get older. I've got one kid that I'm like, I don't know that the traditional route is actually going to be for him, especially with the way I see kind of how technology is moving into our world and what he gravitates toward.
Mhm.
I don't see him going and just being like, I'm just going to go be an accountant or something like that. Nothing against accountants. But, I could see him doing something more engineer, technical, something like that, which I don't know goes into the normal college platform anymore. I don't know what that'll look like.
Right.
But then I've got another one that's 100% going to be in probably the traditional sense. And then my youngest, who knows? She may be on like Broadway or something.
She's cute enough.
She is
so
all over the
stinking
place.
Cute.
So like realistically for us to go put a bunch of money in a 529, it's almost like it's got to be a catch-all for any one of the three and just be careful that we're not overfunding it. I kind of gravitate towards the brokerage account, the dividend account, because then it's flexible. If they want to go start a business, I can help them do that. If they really do want to pursue the arts or something, you can help, like, hey, we can help put you up or something. I don't know. You've got young kids too. Where do you land on this as we kind of land the plane?
Yeah, I mean, I would say for me, it's the 529 was almost like a non-starter for me as an advisor a few years back until like they started opening the box a little bit, and allowing it for more flexibility. I still don't think it's the catch-all answer for education, but I do think that there are very viable options where it makes sense more and more. And the fact that, there are trade schools involved, you can get reimbursed through scholarships. There's so many things that they've allowed it to happen. Whereas before, my small little brain was like, this is only for college and that's all it is. And if you don't lose it, you lose it. Like that's where I thought that we were.
Or you go pay the tax on it.
That's right.
Right. Or you go pay the tax at a time that, oof.
So I think if you haven't looked at it and it's going to be part of a potential life plan, I think it's important to sit down with somebody and see, does it make sense, whether it's a portion or whatever it may be. And I think that the door has clearly opened up more for looking at it as a viable option as part of the strategy.
And even though I don't necessarily mean this, the diversification word I think gets overused, but diversifying your asset classes, like having some money in a Roth, having some money in a brokerage, having some money in a 529, like having some real estate, having some dividend, like there's all different accounts, different things. I guess what I would say is start.
Yes.
Because the best thing you can do, they're going to need money.
Right.
That's
so
right.
if they end up using that to go start a business or buy a home, you're still doing right by your children.
That's
right?
There you go.
If
I
you end
love
up
it.
teaching them at the kitchen table, that's awesome. If you have some money in a 529, as long as it's within moderation, and you think your kids are going to use it, I think that's awesome. But just don't put all your eggs in one basket and have
There
a
you go.
plan. That's
don't
probably,
load up the 529.
have a plan that
That's
can go
right.
through different bumps and changes and twists and turns. That's
right.
my only thought on that whole thing.
I
Give
love
yourself
it.
options.
Great.
That's great. Well, we enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. See you next time.
Subscribe! We forgot!
No, you said it at the very beginning.
Like 3
Did I?
times.
Yeah.
Oh, I think
Yeah.
I did? Okay, sorry.
Yeah, we're good.
Now you got it twice.
Thanks for watching Planning Made Simple. Every week, we bring you conversations that are entertaining, educational, and focused on making life's big decisions a little simpler. Make sure you subscribe for our best content each week, and we'll see you next time.